Taylor Swift, just a few hours after endorsing Kamala Harris for president right after the presidential debate, has now turned off replies on her post where she's endorsing Kamala Harris. If there is not a more Democrat left-wing thing to do, silencing the voice of the people because they're not going to say exactly what you want them to say. This is exactly why we didn't have a live audience for either one of the debates, because there's no way they were going to allow Donald Trump to work that crowd, because he can work it like a master, and they know that. Like tonight, with all of the fact-checking that was going on just for Donald Trump, at some point in time, the audience would have started booing and heckling these moderators, because it was obvious what they were doing. So that's why they didn't want an audience. They don't want the people to have a voice. So here, this was, in my opinion, a coordinated effort right here, because I don't think that tonight's debate went as good as the Harris campaign was hoping for. And so as soon as it was over, they launched their big missile, and that was Taylor Swift and her endorsement of Kamala Harris. And yet, here it is. And you don't allow comments on the post. Also, Taylor Swift holding a picture of her with a picture of a cat. With everything that's being reportedly going on in Ohio right now, I imagine that this comment section, before it was turned off, I imagine, and again, I didn't see it. I can't even tell you if the comments were ever on this post, but I find it highly strange that one of the most famous people on the planet with one of the biggest fan bases on the planet doesn't want people in her comments responding to her endorsing a historic candidate for president, Kamala Harris. But this is what the Democrats do. They don't want the dislike button on YouTube. Left-wing people, they don't want you to have any voice. They don't want it. They want to control the narrative. And if the people have a voice and they can say what they want, they can't control the narrative. I remember when The Rock endorsed Joe Biden and Kamala Harris back in 2020. And The Rock, obviously a very famous person, one of the most famous people. His comment section was brutal. I did a video about that here on this channel. His comment section was brutal on Instagram. So I can only imagine what this was going to look like, but we're not going to be able to find out, because Taylor Swift doesn't believe that her own fans deserve to have a voice, because this is what she thinks of you. This is what Democrats think of you. And it's another example as to why people need to support Donald J. Trump for president of the United States.